Hey guys, it's Chris here, and it is 2021. And if 2020 taught us anything, it taught us that maybe investing in our children was a bad investment. Too many people get their news from memes and nowhere else, and probably a lot of places are gonna go out of business. We saw J.C. Penney go under, we saw the Peebles chain go under, we saw Kmart close a bunch of stores. I didn't even know they had stores left to close, but they still did. We saw Sears close stores, we saw J.C. Penney, if I maybe I already said that one, I don't care. GNC, and of course the big one, Pier 1. All retail juggernauts going under. I think we're going to see GameStop maybe go under, maybe be a Fortune 500 company. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Comment below what you think is going to happen to GameStop, because I thought they were going to go under in 2021, like Q1, and some stuff happened. But that being said, there's definitely going to be some stores that go under, or at least, they close some locations. Now, any idiot can go into these stores and buy inventory that's heavily discounted. I know because I did it. I went to J.C. Penney's. I bought almost a whole bra section from them for one fee. I bought a whole bunch of stuff from Pier 1. I bought some candles and stuff like that. Really made some good money. And that's pretty basic. I don't want to make a video about that. But what I do want to make a video about is the stuff that's not inventory that you can buy from these stores. See, when these retail stores go out of business, they got a bunch of stuff. They got shelving, they got warehouse items, they got electronics, they have computers, all sorts of stuff that we might want to buy to either resell or use for our FBA business. So I'm going to go into this and I'm going to show you some items that you ought to be looking for if you see a business going out of business. And this isn't just about retail stores. I'm also going to talk about warehouses and other kinds of businesses that are going out of business so that you know what to look for so you can make money or improve your Amazon business. So let's get started. So one of the first things that you should look for, I just call miscellaneous retail items. And one of the actual hardest things to buy from a store going out of business are shopping carts. And probably one of the best things you can buy are shopping carts. So if you see a place going out of business, I would recommend trying to get in as early as possible and maybe snag a couple shopping carts, especially a store that has smaller shopping carts. Those are so useful, especially if you have a small warehouse. But we use shopping carts all the time, not only for merchandise handling, but also we have some that we just have garbage bags in, and we use them like garbage cans, basically. So we connect garbage bags to them, fill them up, and then take them out to the dumpster. Works super well, and you can usually pick up a shopping cart between 40 for like a low end, all the way up to $100. $100 might not really be worth it, but I'll tell you, at $40, I would buy a few shopping carts all day. Now, what I would recommend is probably not buying anything that's used at a checkout lane. They're going to be dirty, they're going to be hard used, they're going to probably be broken. So like the computers, the registers, stuff like that, unless you have a specific use for it, I would not buy it unless you know what you're doing, because like a cashier point of sale system can be very expensive and very valuable, but they're very complicated. And that means there's a lot of parts that you have to make sure that you have to make sure you have the whole thing. So if you don't know about that, I would probably avoid that. The other thing is they're well used. So sometimes I'll see people selling the computer systems from like a place that's going out of business. And what I would recommend is not, because the computer system's probably old. It probably has an old operating system on it and just old hardware. And it was used every day, 365 days a year for years, possibly decades. So I would probably avoid that. So another thing to look out for might be collectibles related to the chain or like displays that they have. So when Toys R Us went under, I went up to Niagara Falls with Jameson Philippi, and I was able to work out a deal to buy a Freddy Funko. I paid $500 for it, and I don't know that I actually bought it from Toys R Us. Please don't sue me. But it is brand new in the box, and I just looked up the price on it. they're about $3,000. So I got one for $500. It was a pretty good deal. So you might find some sort of larger items or more flashy items that you're able to snag super cheap. I have a few Toys R Us items that I kept because I just thought that they were really cool. And, I'm just going to keep them for me. The Freddy Funko I'll probably sell eventually when somebody comes along and is looking to pay what I want for it. But do keep your eyes out, especially places like GameStop or Toys R Us, like I've talked about. They might have some really cool stuff. I also have a really cool garbage can that I got from Kmart that for some reason everybody that comes to my warehouse loves and wants to steal from me. So just keep in mind that kind of stuff because it could be good and marketable. But I would tell you to avoid like big stuff because what are you going to do with it? I did actually try to buy the R from Toys R Us, like the R on the outside of the building. Unfortunately, somebody bought it and probably sold it for scrap. Darn. So another thing you want to look for is just general office and shipping supplies. A lot of stores are going to have these. A lot of people are not looking for them, so you could get a really good deal. So when I went over to Pier 1 when they were going out of business, they had these 18 by 18 inch boxes of craft paper from Uline. They were labeled Uline. I bought them for $5 a box. I'm looking right now on Uline. They're $78 each, and I got about 20 of them. I will have craft paper for the rest of my life, and I use that all the time to prep supplies or prep shipments to Amazon. So that was a huge savings, and they pretty much gave them away to me. So look out for that stuff. Places might have tape, bubble wrap, all sorts of just random shipping supplies, tape guns, razor blades, razor knives. I've bought in boxes of Sharpies from stores going out of business, that kind of stuff. So just look around. Ask them if they have any office supplies. They probably do. So another thing to look out for, especially if you're going to be looking at a place that has offices, would be office chairs and office furniture. So I use a Veridesk standing desk all the time. I bought it from a doctor's office that was going out of business. I paid $100 for it. They're normally $500, and it was basically brand new. Another thing to look for would be fancy computer chairs. If you ever see a computer chair that says Aeron or Herman Miller, buy it, especially if it's in good condition and cheap. They're well over $1,000. They're a very expensive chair. I have seen them for sale at office sales. I've never bought one. I just haven't been lucky enough to get there in time, but I have seen them sold as cheap as $100 in pretty okay condition. So you could resell it real easily on local Facebook Marketplace. People will pay $300, $400, $500 for them all day, every day, and come and pick them up from you with a smile. Or keep it for yourself because, comfort's really important, guys. So up next are two things that I have been looking for, and I recently got one of them. This sounds so dumb. This is like a bookseller finding margin of safety. I have really wanted to buy an automatic paper tape dispenser, and a couple people came together. Somebody was getting rid of one, and I private shout out. They know who they are, and Josh, you picked it up for me, so thank you guys so much for picking those up for me and taking care of that. So I actually bought it from another FBA seller, but I always wanted one of these. And the way it works is you turn this dial on the side and then you pull a handle and the right length of paper tape comes out. Super easy, super good for sealing up boxes. And I do a lot of grocery, so I do a lot of little boxes and I don't have to measure it anymore. And paper tape is actually pretty affordable compared to regular plastic tape. So look for those, because if you find a digital one, they're well over $1,000. And another thing to look out for would be for bubble machines, so bubble pack makers. I have never actually seen one at a retail store, but I do know that some Toys R Us's for some reason had them. So it's not outside the realm of possibility that other retail stores that are going out of business might have them. So keep an eye peeled for them. Some of those bubble machines can be well over $500, closer to $2,000 or $3,000. They can really be expensive, and they could be really good for your business. Both of those, a tape dispenser and a bubble machine, could really change your business, especially because you wouldn't have to buy that supply anymore. So keep your eyes peeled. And again, if you don't want to use it, sell it to somebody. I'm sure you can post in a Facebook group and somebody would snap that up in a heartbeat. I have seen these at tons of retail stores. I've never been lucky enough to buy one from a retail store, but I have bought them from warehouses that were going out of business, and that is a Zebra printer or just really any thermal printer. Thermal printers are an industry standard. Another thing that's an industry standard, but I don't have one on me, is a dot matrix printer. You'll find those a lot in workshops like machine shops and auto shops when they go out of business. And with any of these, you just Google the model number and pretty much assume it's going to be working because you're going to be getting it so cheap. But like these Zebra printers, at the warehouse that I'm actually occupying right now, we found a room and like 25 of these brand new in the box. These are like $200 if they're brand new, but they sell used on eBay all day, every day for $100. So you can very often pick these up. I've seen them on Facebook Marketplace. I've seen them at warehouse sales where they're like $20 and you can get as many as you want. So this is definitely something to pick up. If you can't get the power supply for it, don't worry about it. Those are cheap. They're about $10 or $20 on Amazon, or you can get them from AliExpress. But these could be a huge moneymaker, or of course use it for your business, because these are a great business or a great printer for an FBA business. So another thing that a lot of stores have is shelving, and it's pretty typically referred to as gondola shelving. So if you're at Walmart and you see the shelving where it goes up and down, pretty much every shelving at a Walmart and any retail store, it's commonly referred to as gondola shelving. Now, I've looked at buying this before, and it just doesn't make sense for what I'm doing, and I don't know that it's really good for FBA businesses, but somebody else might want it. So go look for it. However, pretty much as soon as a store says that it's going out of business, somebody's going to come in and make an offer and buy almost all of it. So you got to get in there real quick and try your best to get that stuff, because otherwise somebody's going to come in and just buy it all up almost right away. Now, another thing I would keep my eyes peeled for are just general furniture fixtures. So here's some stuff that I bought from Pier 1 when they were going out of business. And these are just really cool heavy-duty steel tables with wooden tops and nice heavy-duty legs with rollers on the bottom. You know, nothing too special, but I paid $37 for the small one. I paid $75 for the big one. I got two of each, and then I got some shelves that were like, I don't know, they're like 6 feet tall, and they're really, really nice. And I think I paid like $25 for them. I don't know exactly off the top of my head how much I paid for them, but they were not expensive. And I like stuff that's on wheels, so I can just move it around the warehouse, have it where I need it, and get it out of the way when I don't need it. So definitely look for that, especially if a place that's like a little bit more decorative is going out of business. Like I said, I got those from Pier 1, or Pier, was it Pier 1? Yeah, Pier 1. So keep an eye peeled for that. Okay, so another thing to always keep an eye out for are what are called U-boats. So U-boats are the things that you'll see in the aisles of stores sometime. They're usually about 6 feet long, and they have big hoops on the end. Those are so nice for storing inventory and moving inventory. They're also great for moving around shipments. So when I was in my older warehouse that was kind of tiny, I would put the shipments on a U-boat so that when the UPS driver showed up, I just rolled it right out to his truck, threw it in the back of his truck. So it's super easy to do. You can pick these up. I usually pay around $100 for a U-boat. And one thing I would definitely look out for with these is you got to look at the condition of the wheels. If the wheels are bad, you don't want to buy it, because the wheels are more than the cost of the whole thing. So if you like go to Harbor Freight and try to replace the wheels, you're looking at like $30-40. Now, of course, you could use that as a point of negotiation. If somebody says, oh, well, look at this U-boat, it's $100. You're like, yeah, but the wheels are all bad. I'll give you $40 for it. Then take it. So if a U-boat is in great, perfect condition, $100 all day, every day, worth it. If it's in bad condition where you're going to have to replace the wheels, $40 tops. But that's all up to you. Plus, you got to know how to replace the wheels on it. It's not that hard to do. You just need like a ratchet and some pliers. Another thing to look out for, though, with U-boats is if you can get the shelving for them. So this is one of the U-boats that I got. I got this, I believe, from Toys R Us, and it has these wonderful shelves on it. And those are actually great for storing like small items like I have on there. And we actually put some cardboard up and taped it on, kind of made like a makeshift little like rolling storage holding system. It's a little weird, but it works really well. So definitely keep an eye peeled for U-boats. So my all-time favorite thing to buy from stores going out of business are flexible conveyors. These are such a lifesaver if you have the room for them. So what I will tell you is that if you're like prepping out of your house, don't buy these. But if you have a garage, even like a 1 or 2 car garage, these can be a huge lifesaver. We use these all the time to move inventory around. We bought a bunch of grapefruit trays that slide perfectly on them, so I can have somebody prepping and that just like slides down as they pull the tray up. A new tray of inventory to prep pulls right in. We use them for unloading containers, like when we get a shipping container private label products in, we throw one of these in there, and the guys at the front of the conveyor or the front of the container don't have to walk all the way to the back to the forklift. You just put it on the conveyor. There's so many uses for these. If you have a UPS truck coming that's not dock height, so like a regular brown box truck, and you have dock height doors, you can drop one of these down in the back of the truck, just push your boxes right in. They're so useful. I love these things. So a couple quick words of warning about conveyors. Number one, they're usually pretty dirty, so if you don't have a way to clean them off, I actually, when I buy mine, I take them to a car wash and just wash them using the pressure washer at a car wash. I've actually done this in the back of a U-Haul before. Don't tell U-Haul that I did that. Another thing is they're very heavy. They weigh well over 1,000 pounds. However, they have like 20 wheels on the ground, so it might sound like they'd be very heavy, but they don't actually act like they're heavy unless you're trying to lift them. However, because they have so many segments, it's actually pretty easy to get them into the back of a truck. 2 guys that are real strong, like me, could lift one of these that's 1,000 pounds into the back of the truck. You just have to lift it one section at a time, one guy on each side, and then you push it right in. It does work. I've done it before, but it's not pleasant. Also, keeping in mind, if you don't have a cargo van, you don't have a truck, you don't have a box truck to get this home, might be kind of challenging. So I don't know what the weight limit on a minivan is or an SUV, but just be careful that you don't overweight stuff. However, keep something in mind, even if you're not going to use this, these sell super well on Facebook Marketplace and eBay. They're very expensive. Some of the ones that I have are almost $5,000 brand new, and I paid like $200 for them. So when I bought out the Kmart, I bought 3 of them from Kmart. 2 of them were practically brand new. I'll share pictures of them. And then I got one that was broken. So the broken ones are kind of tough to fix, but people will still buy them because they want them for factories and they will put in the work to get them fixed. So if you see one that's broken, where like the links of the flexible hose or the flexible conveyor aren't together right, or it just doesn't look right to you, list it for sale on Facebook Marketplace. People will come and buy it from you, and it's not that big a deal. Another thing is if you're transporting these in a truck, ratchet strap them together. I'll show how to do that. Ratchet strap them together, otherwise they will like come apart in the back of a truck, and it's a big pain in the ass. But we use these all the time with our outbounds, and here's some photos of it. So these have been super helpful, and I really, really do recommend trying to get one, especially if you have the space or you just want to move on and sell it to somebody else, because people will buy them. So the last 2 things are probably going to be things you only want to look for if you have a real warehouse, because these take up a lot of room and you need specialty electrical for them. So the first is a baler. I bought this baler for $1,000 from Kmart, and I paid $400 for a service to remove it, deliver it, and reinstall it in my warehouse for me. And honestly, for $1,400, this was a steal. We don't use it that often. Like, we only use probably 2 or 3 bales a week. This isn't something that we use every day, but it's super nice to have, because once you start baling cardboard, number 1, it doesn't take up room in your garbage. Number 2, it's more environmentally friendly because you're going to recycle it. It's also just easier to put it in a baler than it is to like fold it up and put it in boxes, all that crap. But also then you can sell it. Okay, and we actually have made more money from selling baled cardboard than I paid for the baler. And here's one of my employees, Tim. I was teaching him how to use the baler, and for some reason that day he decided to dress as the Grimace. Now, another thing to look out for would be a pallet wrapper. These are super specialty. You're probably never going to see one at a retail store, but if you go to a warehouse that's going out of business, you very well may see one. Now, these can be very expensive. Typical low-end ones are about $3,000, and they just go up from there into the tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes even more. What you need to know about these is you're gonna probably need a forklift to operate it, unless it's a really high-end one, and then it's just gonna be a lot of money and a lot to move around. If you have warehouse space and you have the space for it, just get one. I mean, you know, if you can get them cheap enough. This particular one, you can see I had it in my warehouse. I was working out a deal with it, and the deal fell through last minute, and I unfortunately was not able to secure this one. Really disappointing, because I'm currently looking for a pallet wrapper. It would really help my operation. But this is something, if you're doing LTL, definitely a good thing to have. And if you're not going to use it, you can definitely sell them on Facebook Marketplace. I see them on Facebook Marketplace all the time for a few $1,000s. So something to keep in mind. Of course, getting something like that installed would only be something you could do if you had 220, most likely 223 phase. That's what that one was, or maybe 480 or even 720. I don't know exactly. You'd have to look at that and know how to get that kind of stuff installed. Well, guys, I hope that this video gave you an idea of what to look at when you're looking at stores that are going out of business. And if you've bought anything from stores going out of business that you want to share, leave a comment below. Tell me what you got. If I forgot anything, let me know. I'm genuinely curious, because, you know, this is the kind of stuff that I love. These tools are so expensive sometimes. These flexible conveyors are thousands of dollars. I could never afford all of the conveyors that I have. But I have a bunch of them because I was smart with shopping, and I hope that you guys are too, and I hope that these tips help you either grow your FBA business or make some extra money to grow your FBA business if you don't actually have space for all these things. So anyway, guys, have a good night, make a lot of money, make me proud, buy some stuff from stores going out of business, and don't go out of business yourself. Talk to you later.